Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making for you today is Moose Stroganoff. Before I explain the ingredients and how we're going to make it, I'm just going to talk a little bit about where this recipe came from. We had a couple of our viewers message me and wanted to do something different with bottled moose meat, and that's what I got here today, thanks to once again my neighbor for providing this for me. So we're going to turn this bottle of moose meat into a beautiful dish called Moose Stroganoff. For anyone that have never cooked moose before, it's you need to put a lot of flavor into it, and it don't have any fat. So, and I guess fat, salt makes flavor, but this is what I want to kind of do, shave away from. I don't want too much salt in this because I don't know how much is in the bottle itself. So we're going to be using this bottled moose. We're going to be using a medium onion. We're going to be using a cup of stock, could be vegetable or beef, a couple of pieces of garlic. We're going to be using a quarter cup of butter, a can of mushroom soup, a can of mushrooms, or you can have fresh mushrooms, pepper, I got salt there, but we will see, and Worcestershire sauce. I may not have that pronounced right, but excuse me if I don't. Flour and some beef seasoning. So what I'm going to do, I got my moose opened. I'm going to put it into this bowl and strainer, and the reason for that, I want to take off if it's got any I guess I won't say liquid, but the sauce that's on this, I want to take it off because I'm going to make it into something different than what it was meant for when it was bottled. So pretty much all of the meat is going to be into there. I'm going to run some hot water over this. So basically what I'm doing is just taking the sauce that was already on this, that from the bottling, off, because I don't want that on there. Okay, so let that strain. I'm sure the sauce that was on this meat was absolutely delicious, but what we're doing, we're trying to turn a bottle moose into something different. So if I leave it the way it was, well, it's not going to be different. So right now we're going to add a quarter of a cup of flour. So you're going to sprinkle it while it's into this here, it's fine, over the meat, and you're just going to toss it in. And while you're tossing it, the juice from where I just washed it, all the sauce off, is running into the bowl. I'm going to be using a tablespoonful of beef seasoning, and it could be OXO, and if you don't want that, you could use just your own seasonings. So this is just to put that extra flavor in there. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of pepper to it. I'm not going to put any salt in it at this point. So you judge what you want there with pepper. I got about 4 or 5 grates. I'm going to put this to the side now. I'm going to cut up our onion. We're going to take our onion and our mushrooms and put over into the pan to fry, but I'm going to cut my onion up first. Basically, I'm just going to cut this onion into small pieces because I want to fry it down and to bring it nice and golden brown, and this is going to be our base for when we start frying our moose meat. Now you can also have regular moose meat if you don't have bottled meat. Years ago, about probably I would say 25 years ago, I had this meal. We were invited to some friends in Inuvik, and this was a Newfoundland family that loved keeping their tradition. And they had moose meat, but what they had was shavings. They just shaved off pieces of their moose. So you can do that with this dish, because this is where this dish came from, this inspiration for me today, to turn a bottled moose into Moose Stroganoff. And they made it like this, and I got to say, I didn't know that it was moose. There's no easy way to cut onions. If anyone got any wonderful ideas about that, you can. I run water through my knife, I put water over the onions. So what I'm going to do now is take this over to my stove top, and we're going to start frying it. So I think what we'll do first, while I'm over to the stove top, we got some water boiling there. I'm going to put a teaspoonful of salt in there, and I'm going to put 3 cups of egg noodles, because I want to add this started, because we'll need it with after our mousse is done. So that'll be 3 cups of egg noodles that I'm putting in this water just to get it starting to cook, and I only want it just tender, so I'm just going to put the cover on part ways. Now we got a 1/4 cup of butter that we're putting into our pan here, and let that melt down nice. And I'm going to be putting about a tablespoonful of olive oil. And what we're going to put in next, we're going to start our onions frying. This is coming along nicely now. I'm going to put some pepper in there. Not a little bit of pepper, season. And like I said, I'm going to leave the salt at this point, because I want to taste my sauce first before I put any salt in there, because I don't know how much salt was added to the bottle mousse. So let's just see how that goes. Our onions are coming along nice. Now we're going to add in our mushrooms. Now at this point you can put fresh mushrooms if you got some on hand, and just cut it like this, small pieces, and then we're going to keep this here now until it starts to turn golden brown. Okay, you probably want your damper on to the medium to high on this, because you want for your onions and your mushrooms to start turning nice and golden brown, just to get that caramelization going before we take it out and add in the mousse to the pan and start frying that down. Okay, our noodles are done in now, so I'm going to take them off the boil, drain them, put them to the side while we're waiting for our mushrooms and onions to cook. As you can see, they're getting nice and caramelized. Just about ready to take those off as well. Okay, this is ready to take off. I'm going to put this now into a bowl, and then we'll start frying our mousse meat. Okay, so let's just take all of this delicious onions and mushrooms and put it here in this bowl. And you don't mind a few drippings there, that's fine, because we need that caramelization to help us cook down or fry down our mousse. Let's put all of this wonderful mousse into our pan, take it off, and let that start frying down. I didn't add any oil at this point because I wanted to keep it just with what the drippings is from the pan of our mushrooms and onions. Okay, I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the top of our noodles, because now that they're all cooked, we don't want them to clump together. We just want them to stay nice and tender. And we got our mushrooms and onions over here. Of course, you can see they look delicious. Now we're going to stir our mousse meat, and it's starting to turn golden brown, and that's what we want, because all of that golden brown equals flavor. So let's get that moving there. This is starting to look absolutely amazing. And you can see the smell in here is delicious, and it's all starting to turn nice and golden brown. As you can see, this is the flour that we put on there, helps season that enough, or to get it to fry nice. Okay, our mousse meat is sauteed enough. What we're going to do now is start making our sauce to build up all of our flavors. Okay, so we're going to be adding about a teaspoonful of Worcestershire sauce. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, and forgive me for that. We're going to be doing the 2 cloves of garlic, and we don't want this to burn, because garlic burned in any meal is no good. It don't taste any good at all. So just to start the cooking process on it, just to infuse those flavors. Okay, so that's good. And we're going to be putting in a cup of broth. You could use vegetable or beef stock, it doesn't matter. And let this cook around for just a couple of minutes. And as you can see, the pot broth is starting to boil again. So now we're going to add in our cup, or I'm going to say our cup of mushroom sauce, but a can of mushroom sauce. So you can put the full can of sauce in there. And we're going to mix this around. So we're going to stir all that sauce around. Just look how delicious that looks. I mean, and as well, it smells so nice in here. All these flavors that have built up on this dish being fried. So at this point now, you can take a little taste of your broth just to see if it's seasoned enough for you. If you feel that you need something in there, like salt, more pepper, add it in there. You can also add in like seasonings if you want to do, you know, garlic seasoning or your onion seasoning. So now I'm going to reach for my onions and mushrooms and put all of that in there. So at this stage in our cooking, you can turn your damper off because we don't need to cook this anymore. What we're going to do now is just stir this onions and mushrooms into our moose meat, which this was bottled moose and cut in small pieces, fried with flour and some seasonings. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to toss in our egg noodles, and then we'll take it to our counter and see what it looks like. Okay, so you can do this two ways. You can put the noodles in with the dish, or you can serve it over top of the dish, whichever works best for you. But I like to do this because it gives it all equal amount of sauce on your noodles. Okay, now that we got our Moose Stroganoff cooked, I'm gonna scoop up a nice big helping on our plate. And again, you could dress this one up. We'll leave that little piece there for now. You can dress this up whichever way you want it afterwards. If you want it just like this, that's fine. You could top it with a little bit of fresh herbs, some parsley, or you know, some basil, whatever you like, and another little bit of pepper. So this is your dish turned into Moose Stroganoff. Just look how delicious this meal looks right now. So for those of you that got bottles of moose meat, bottles of caribou meat even, try this dish. See what you think of it. You may like it like this, or you may think that, well, maybe I'll use something else, cream of chicken soup instead of cream of mushroom soup. Just change it up and make it your own. And to our viewers that messaged me and asked me to turn a bottle of moose meat into something different, I hope this dish is helpful for you and for others, and please try it. Thank you once again for joining me for Bonita's Kitchen. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Up in the top right hand corner, just hit subscribe, follow the link. Visit our brand new website, www.bonitaskitchen.com, and as well on our Facebook page, Bonita's Kitchen. And again, thank you for joining us once again for Bonita's Kitchen, and you have a wonderful day.